Captain Sig Hansen, the brave face of Deadliest Catch, has made a lot of money from crab fishing over the years, which can be very risky. As captain of the Northwestern, he's made a lot of money from huge crab catches. Some seasons, he made over $650,000. Sig's TV fame outside of the Bering Sea led to endorsement deals, book sales, and even a voice part in a Pixar movie. He is also involved in real estate with homes in Seattle and an island in Norway. It hasn't been easy to get rich, though, with rough seas, health scares, and personal problems. How much money does Captain Sig really have from having the world's most dangerous job? It wasn't just luck that made Sig Hansen one of the richest leaders on Deadliest Catch. He began his journey from the decks of his family's fishing boat when he was only 14 years old. It was full of toughness, danger, and sheer drive. Sig was born in Seattle in 1966 and grew up in a family that lived and breathed the sea. His grandpa and father, Sig Hansen, were among the first people to fish for crab in Alaska, finding ways to make a living even during the worst weather. Sig quickly did what they did because he liked the sea better than school. He would often skip class as a teen just to join the crew. When Sig was 24, he was in charge of the Northwestern, the same boat that his father had been in charge of. The ocean wasn't just a job, that much was clear. It was a gift. Now we're in the early 2000s, and Sig has made the Northwestern a great boat. He was a brave, decisive, and highly determined leader. What was at stake was always very high on the Bering Sea. One mistake could lead to disaster or even death. Still, while Sig was in charge, the Northwestern became known for both its high yields and exceptional safety. Unlike many others, no one had ever died on his ship, a great track record in the world's most dangerous job. But 2005 was the year when everything really changed. Discovery Channel made the show Deadliest Catch, which showed millions of people the harsh truth of Alaskan crab fishing. From the beginning, Sig was a key figure because of how intense and interesting he was. People were drawn to him because he was tough, funny, and under a lot of pressure at sea. The honest stories on the show made it a ratings hit, and Sig went from being a successful fisherman to a reality TV star. He became famous, and his income went through the roof because of it. There were a lot of endorsements, appearance fees, and extra pay as a featured leader that added a lot to his net worth. It is thought that Sig Hansen is worth about $4 million as of 2023. Sig's wealth has always come from fishing. The Northwestern, which he is in charge of, is always one of the best earners in the fleet. Crab quotas that are based on past success often favor boats like the Northwestern, which helps Sig make more money. During busy times, if they get a good catch, he and his team can make hundreds of thousands of dollars in just a few weeks. The limits aren't certain, though. They can be affected by things in the surroundings and efforts to control the population, and even rules set by the government. When crab numbers drop or quotas are cut, Sig's income goes down. He's been through times when king crab fishing was completely banned, which made his finances unclear, even though he could make a lot of money when the catch is good. Even for captains, earnings in the crab business aren't always reliable. During the worst years, captains like Sig have had to deal with tough economic times in addition to the dangerous seas. Sig has said that fishing doesn't have an exit plan. The only thing that can be said for sure is that the next season will be better than the last. Even though there is risk and change, Sig's skill has made sure that the Northwestern always meets or beats its goals. As captain, his share can hit 6 figures for every catch, especially when the price of crab goes up. TV added another way for Sig to make money. He started getting endorsement deals with brands like Carhartt and Grundens, which are known for making tough, long-lasting workwear that is perfect for the unpredictable sea. These deals added to his Deadliest Catch pay. Getting these recommendations wasn't just a nice bonus. They turned into an important source of income that helped Sig get through the good and bad times in the fishing business. The show also gave him more chances to be seen by the people. He got richer every time he did something like speak at events or meet and greet with friends. It worked out well for Sig's public image, which was both big and grounded in hard work. Sig did more than just fish and watch TV, though. He wrote the best-selling book North by Northwestern with Mark Sundin and put it out in 2010. People could see what his family had done and how dangerous life was on the Bering Sea. Selling books added to Sig's wealth and showed how smart he was as a businessman. Sig knew how important it was to tell stories, whether they were on TV or in books. He kept building on that momentum and even looked into job options in Hollywood. In 2011, he did the voice of a crab boat named Krabby in Cars 2. It was a short but useful job. He is becoming more well-known outside of reality TV. By the middle of the 2010s, Sig was more than just a fisherman. He was also a well-known TV star. He even went on the reality show The Celebrity Apprentice, which gave him more fame and ways to make extra money. But fame also had some bad effects. Sig was under a lot of pressure to keep up his position, and the stress of juggling his life at sea, on TV, and in his personal life got to him. Sig Hansen hit a new point in his career in 2014. He was inducted into the Scandinavian American Hall of Fame, which is a very honor that honors his heritage, hard work, and influence. But the happiness over his success was quickly overshadowed by a scary event at sea. At the beginning of March 2016, Sig had a heart attack on the Northwestern while shooting Deadliest Catch. That time, he was 49 years old, with a tough routine that tested their mental and physical strength. For Sig and his team, the event was a shock. It happened in the Bering Sea, which is known for its chaos, rough water, high stakes, and pressure to meet the season's limit. Even though it hurt so much, Sig's reaction was to keep going. Afterwards, Sig thought about it and said it was a 50/50 chance. At first, he wanted to keep fishing, but his team told him he needed to see a doctor. There was no way to argue about it. Sig was flown to a hospital in Anchorage, Alaska. It was a major event in the history of Deadliest Catch and a turning point in his life. Fans and other fishers were shocked when the event was posted on the show's social media pages. Sig, on the other hand, found the fallout of the attack to be more scary than the attack itself. The scary part was when you got home and thought, did that really happen? He thought back. In hindsight, the fact that he almost drowned at sea scared him more. He was mad after the heart attack. He had spent his whole life with the sea, but now it seemed to have turned against him in a cruel way. Because of the scare, Sig had to make changes to his life right away. No longer did people smoke cigarettes and eat heavy comfort foods. He had to start eating salads and healthy foods, which he joked was sucking. It was hard for a man whose whole life had been built on toughness, energy, and often unhealthy ways of dealing with stress. But Sig knew he had to do it if he wanted to keep fishing and shooting. His family, team, and fans who had watched him for over a decade were all in danger, as well as his own pride. Sig did more than just write books and act on TV shows. Over the years, he made smart investments. He used the money he made from fishing to spread out his holdings. Real estate became one of his main areas of interest. Besides fishing, he bought a house in Seattle and a vacation home in Alaska, which gave him comfort and a steady source of income. These purchases helped him keep his wealth, even when fishing wasn't going well or when he got sick out of the blue. Even though Sig made a lot of money, it didn't happen quickly. Years at sea, hard business choices, and a never-ending search for opportunities led to it. Every business he did, from fishing trips to TV deals, was a planned way to make more money. But Sig is quick to point out that making money in the fishing business is never a sure thing. He once said that fishing has no backup plans. You either go with the flow of the wave or sink. The amount of money that can be made on Deadliest Catch changes a lot, even between captains. Reports say that a captain can make anywhere from $150,000 to $500,000 a season from the show alone, based on how much time they spend on screen and how well they do. Because he is always on the show as one of the main captains, Sig's income is near the top of that range. With this money and the money he makes fishing and from advertising, Sig is one of the best paid people in the crab fishing business. Deckhands on the Northwestern can make anywhere from $15,000 to $50,000 in just a few months. What the haul is like. The payoffs can change your life, but the work is hard. Of course, Sig's share is much higher as captain, but the mental and physical toll is also higher. Making strategic choices, being alert all the time, and living in fear of failing are all part of the job. There is always the chance to make millions of dollars, but there is also the chance to lose everything, both physically and financially. Sig has spent decades at sea and has seen team members come and go, but his family has always been there for him. There's more to Sig's story than just catching crabs. There's also a legacy that he hopes his girls will carry on. Mandy Hansen, Sig's youngest daughter, is at the center of this heritage. When Mandy started crab fishing, it wasn't just to do what her father did, it was also to prove herself in one of the toughest jobs in the world. With his wife June, Sig has two adopted girls named Nina and Mandy. He also has a biological daughter named Melissa from a previous marriage. Melanie has gone in a different direction, but Mandy has become a mainstay on the Northwestern and has even become the replacement captain. Like her sisters, Mandy speaks Norwegian as her first language. She was raised with the same deeply held customs that Sig's childhood was shaped by. She learned both the language of her family and the language of the sea as she grew up in a home where Norwegian was spoken before English. Mandy didn't just want to be loyal to her family when she chose to join the Northwestern, it was about being able to handle the job's tough mental and physical responsibilities. Mandy quickly learned that she shouldn't be slow in the Bering Sea. She wasn't treated differently because she was her father's daughter. Like everyone else on the ship, Mandy had to earn her respect on deck. As her captain and father, Sig kept a good balance. He had to be tough and push Mandy to her limits, but he also felt like he had to protect her as a dad. Deadliest Catch did a great job of showing this tension, with Sig's tough love often being on full display. Mandy wasn't just there to appear on a reality TV show, though. She wanted to be a captain and be able to handle rough seas and a team of experienced sailors. It wasn't easy for her in the beginning on the Northwestern. At times, the experienced crew didn't believe her, and the rough seas tried to resolve. In one episode, Sig had to pull Mandy off the deck during a storm. It was a sad time for the Hansen family, and Edgar quietly left the show because of it. Had to figure out how Edgar's acts affected not only the family but also the cast and fans of the show. Some things in Sig's personal life have been made public. He was arrested in 2017 after a fight in Seattle with an Uber driver. After drinking all night, Sig caused the accident and damaged the driver's car. Sig admitted that he was wrong, taking full blame for what he did and saying that he felt embarrassed. He was given a year of probation and was closely watched by the media. Even with all the problems, Sig's main priorities are still his family and fishing. Mandy has become his best friend on the Northwestern, and their friendship goes beyond work. She is now married and has a daughter named Sailor Marie. Being a grandfather has given Sig's life a new depth and brought him moments of happiness in a world that is often marked by loss and danger. Even Sailor, who is too young to fish, has been seen on Deadliest Catch, which shows that the Hansen name may live on in a new age. There are still strong ties between the Hansen family and Norway. Sig, his brothers, and their father and grandfather took them fishing in Norway every summer. This experience shaped who they were as fishers. In the past few years, Sig has gone back to Norway for a new journey. It's part of a series called The Viking Returns, and he and Mandy hunt cod and mackerel along the coast of Norway. The series is a new part of Sig's career that combines his love of fishing and his Norwegian background. Sig's goal isn't just to catch fish, it's also to get back in touch with the Hansen family roots. It's not just a sentimental trip back to Norway, though. It's also a smart move after the Alaskan red king crab fishery was shut down, which was a big blow to many crab fishers. If something needs to be changed, Sig has always been able to do it. The waters around Norway offer a new task and a new way to make money, which could help the Hansen family's finances in tough times. The fact that Sig owns the Norwegian island of Mordholmen adds another layer to his story. As kids, Sig and his brothers used to crab off of the island. It represents how close the Hansen family is to the sea. A lot of Sig's daily life is tied to the ocean, even when he's not at sea. He stays close to his roots, even though he lives in Seattle with his wife June. He really loves local sports teams like the Seattle Seahawks and Mariners, and he often takes his family to games. On land, his life is a balance between the demands of fame and the comforts of home. As the 20th season of Deadliest Catch came to a close, things were far from easy for Captain Sig Hansen and the Northwestern. In the middle of the last push, bad things happened. The power went out. The panel wouldn't react, so the crew was stuck 130 miles out at sea without GPS, radar, or lights. It was very dark, and the cold Bering Sea looked like it could swallow them up. Modern electronics broke down, so Sig had to switch to steering by hand, which is almost never done for a ship this size in these dangerous seas. It was a hard job for the team to bring in the last 15 crab pots as dawn broke. Since there were only 2 guys working, Sig's son-in-law Clark Pedersen took the wheel while Sig controlled the speed. It was a last-ditch effort to get the pots back and get home safely. Clark was already under a lot of stress. His wife Mandy was on the verge of giving birth. Each choice was important. Minute brought them closer to a finish line that they didn't know where it would be. Once the last pots were found, the next problem was figuring out how to get back to Dutch Harbor. Sig had to use years of gut to find his way back to shore, using only a magnetic compass and rough guesses of how far away he was. There was a lot at stake, and it was a test of experience over technology. When the coast of Dutch Harbor finally showed up on the horizon, the tense moments on board changed into relief. In the sea, Sig's face gets tough, but when he got there just in time to meet his new grandchild, it got soft. At the same time, things were just as bad for Captain Jake Anderson on the Titan Explorer. Jake was fighting 20-foot waves not only to catch crabs, but also to keep his job. No crab, no work, that's what his boss told him. When the autopilot stopped working, Jake quickly found a way to use a smaller engine for the job, figuring out clever ways to fire off the last 20 pots. He was trying to beat the tide by pulling the pots backwards while the leaky boat fought the strong waves. He finally got 140,000 pounds of crab, which saved his job right up until the last minute. Jonathan Hillstrand and the Time Bandit crew were in a race against the clock to get 5,000 pounds in before the due date. Seeing killer whales and seals was a sign of good luck. They soon hit the jackpot, getting more than $60,000 worth of crab. But they also had to make sure that the goods didn't go bad on the way because of problems with the slack tank. Even though they lost a few games, they finished the season strong. The scores were added up at the end of the season. Titan Explorer made $1,021,010, and Time Bandit made $724,990, and $658,395 to the Northwestern. There are more ways to measure Captain Sig Hansen's wealth than just money. It's the result of decades of risky expeditions, rough weather, and the tough determination that has made his job on the Bering Sea what it is. Sig has worked hard to get where he is today by facing many challenges, such as dealing with breakdowns in complete darkness and leading his family into a new age of fishing. His net worth of about $4 million comes from both the money he made fishing and the memories of a lifetime spent in dangerous seas.